I was broken, betrayed by the system I served, left to fade in shadows. But when a corrupt titan humiliated me publicly, I crafted a plan to expose his lies and reclaim my honor. This is a story of vengeance, survival, and redemption. I want to share my story with you. I'm sitting on a cracked concrete ledge in an alley that smells like stale coffee and old trash, watching the city move without me. Every morning I wake up behind that dumpster, the one with the blue tarp I snagged at a surplus lot, and it feels like I'm still asleep. Only the nightmares have the same view. I've learned to be invisible here. No one notices the hunched figure in a threadbare jacket scanning license plates as they whiz past on slick asphalt. But I notice. I've been noticing for years. Each car has a make, a model, a story. Each pedestrian has a gait, a glance, a secret they're too afraid to own. In the military, that skill kept me alive. Now it's all I have left. I traced the chipped paint on the dumpster, counting the layers beneath it. Red, black, green, a riot of discarded campaigns, reminders of every operation I survived. The fall from grace still stings, an act of betrayal sharper than any battlefield wound. I wasn't just pushed out, I was shoved off a high cliff in front of everyone. One false accusation, a rumor that spread faster than wildfire, and suddenly the medals I earned, the lives I saved, they meant nothing. I watched my reputation burn on morning news and cable talk shows. The same people I protected cheered while I was branded a disgrace. My fingers drum against my knee, catching the rhythm of the rain dripping through a hole in the tarp. My eyes never stop working, cataloging the small things. A security guard loosening his tie, a barista wiping a smudge on the counter, a man in a suit checking his phone for messages. None of them see me, but I see them all. The guard's twitch at 2:17 p.m. tells me he's nervous about something he's hiding. The barista's jaw tightens when she hears a certain name, maybe a boyfriend, S. The suited man's eyes dart toward the back exit as if he's expecting a deal to go down. These trivial details become my discipline now. This is my battlefield. I remember being a hero, a strategist, the one everyone turned to when crisis hit. My hands were steady, my mind razor-sharp. I gave orders that saved lives, planned assaults so precise they seemed surgical. But my downfall didn't come from an enemy fire or a risky mission. It came from back-home politics, power plays, someone who decided I was expendable. When I asked for evidence, they fed me lies. When I demanded a hearing, they brushed me off. No one cared that I had nothing but the truth on my side. I lost my rank, my benefits, my home on base, and then my home period. I leaned forward, sliding my gaze up the alley toward the street lamp that flickers on schedule every 5 seconds. That light is my beacon and my timer. 5 seconds on, 2 seconds off, same as my marching cadence. I breathe in sync with it, inhale, tap, exhale, pause. Discipline is all that keeps the fog of despair from swallowing me whole. Each breath reminds me that I'm still alive, still capable of something more than picking through trash for half-eaten burritos. A group of suited men step out of a black SUV at the corner. They carry briefcases, and one of them laughs too loud, shoulders thrown back, arrogance in every step. They're going into a building I once scouted for covert ops, a place I know has hidden wiring and blind spots I mapped with centimeter precision. I watch them through narrowed eyes, calculating. Each tie knot, each polished shoe, each cufflink screams privilege. They represent the system that chewed me up and spat me out. They're exactly what I've been waiting for. I tuck my chin into my coat, letting the hood drop over my eyes as I stand. I move toward the curb, blending with the early commuters. My heart doesn't race, it doesn't falter. It's a steady drum, a soldier's metronome. The world around me might see a ragged vagrant, but I see pawns and pieces, opportunities and weaknesses. I can feel the strategy coalescing in my mind like the outlines of a map I once memorized. The first move is always observation, know the terrain, know the players. And I've been watching this board for a long time. I step under the guttering light and tilt my head to catch every scrap of conversation the suited men share. Names, schedules, security codes, they fling secrets around like confetti. My lips twitch into a small smile. The ghost of a soldier has awakened inside me and he remembers how to plan. This isn't just about revenge. This is about reclaiming everything they stole from me, my honor, my dignity, my future. And tonight the game begins. They picked today, the day 100 reporters and cameras swarmed the plaza for the grand opening of that new tech center, an edifice of glass and chrome, a monument to billionaires' egos. I shuffled through the crowd in my beaten-up army-issue boots, staring at the polished suits like a man staring down vultures. The air tasted like anticipation and overpriced coffee. I thought I'd stay hidden, maybe catch a glimpse of the CEO Marcus Thorne, the man whose foundation I once begged for help when my savings ran out and my lease expired. I told them I was a vet, shattered, slipping off the map. They showed me cameras instead of compassion. He was on stage, a slick grin plastered across his face. His ivory cufflinks glinted in the sunlight, currency symbols embossed on them. He extolled his commitment to veterans, brandishing a novelty check 6 figures that wouldn't cover a month of rent for half the people in this city. I heard the press corps cheer. I felt my gut tighten because I knew this was cheap theatrics. When the show ended, they'd slip that check into some charity black hole and call it a day. A security guard, the same one who'd laughed at my sign reading Help My Country, handed me a leaflet. Veterans Outreach, it said with his photo beneath it. They wanted me to join a panel live demonstration of their benevolence. I hesitated, but something in me craves that recognition. The chance to be seen, to be heard. I stepped up. The host wiped his brow and glanced at me with like contempt mixed with pity. That look was worse than a bullet wound. They ushered me onto the stage. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, eyes flicking over my bedraggled jacket and unkempt beard. The host handed me a mic, his smile sharp as shards of glass. "Tell us your story, soldier," he said. "Show us the price you paid for freedom." My mouth went dry. I stood there, the veteran ghost of my former self, a man who once commanded units into war zones, now reduced to performative sob story at a billionaire's photo op. I began to speak. The missions, the friends I lost, the nightmares that still wake me at 3 a.m. My voice cracked, old pain rising like bile. But instead of sympathy, the audience perked up at the drama. They leaned forward, ready for the spectacle. Thorne nodded. This was his moment, his redemption arc in real time. And then it happened. The host pretended to cough, dropped a small vial onto the stage. "Forgive me," he said, "just a harmless demonstration." Before I could react, someone grabbed my arm. A cloud of crimson dye burst from the vial, splattering me from head to toe. It soaked into my hair, my uniform shirt, my wounded pride. The crowd gasped, then laughed. Cameras flashed as Thorne raised his hands theatrically, casting shadows on my splattered chest. "Look," he said, voice dripping condescension. "Our veterans are bleeding for us, literally bleeding." The audience chuckled, mistaking my horror for patter. The host quipped, "Don't worry, we'll rinse you off, just a little publicity stunt." But they didn't rinse me. They circled me like sharks. They snapped photos, recorded video. They tweeted tags, "Veteran bleeds for you. Thorne cares." They turned me into a meme before I even knew what hit me. I tried to wipe the dye from my eyes, but it burned, stung, a physical reminder of their cruelty. Thorne stepped closer, face calm, ironclad. "This is for everyone out there who doubts our commitment," he said. "Even when the system fails, we succeed." His aides brought out a hose and sprayed me down, cold water sluicing over me, washing away more than just dye. They stripped me of dignity in front of cameras. Every droplet knocked me down deeper. A woman near the front snickered. A man yanked out his phone, broadcasting live. Children pointed, laughing at the red, dripping mess. I wanted to scream, to curse them out, but my voice was lost under the torrent. Soaked and humiliated, I stumbled off stage, the crowd parting for the curtain call. Thorne bowed grandly, the hero of the hour. Cameras followed him, not me. I retreated into the alley, chest heaving, knees shaking. The dye dripped from my jacket onto the pavement, crimson dots on the gray slab. My hands trembled, not from cold but rage. The final indignity wasn't just the dye or the laughter, it was the world watching, consuming my brokenness like entertainment. They saw a punchline, not a man who once swore an oath to protect them. As I leaned against the brick wall, my head spun with that bitter taste, bitter and bright as blood. That moment cracked something inside me, the despair fractured, replaced by something cold and hard. "You humiliate me in front of thousands, you stain my uniform, you parade me as a charity case, fine. But you forget I'm still the strategist, I'm still the soldier. And I never fought to be visible in the spotlight. I fought to be invisible until the moment I struck. Now I know exactly how you'll move, what you'll fear, and how to bring the whole goddamn spectacle crashing down." I wake before dawn, shivering under a thin tarp strung between two dumpster lids. The city is still asleep, but my mind is wide awake, replaying the plaza humiliation in harsh loops. My pulse slows, steadying like a metronome, and the instant regret and fury transform into something disciplined, precise. I've been here before, on forward operating bases where the line between life and death depended on my clarity of thought. This is another mission, just with different players and a new battlefield. The streets, the boardrooms, the digital shadows. I sit up and stretch my shoulders, joints cracking like old floorboards. My breath puffs in front of me. I reach into my battered pack and pull out a blank notebook I stole from a school dumpster weeks ago, a stub of pencil inside. I flip it open to a fresh page and write mission briefing. Underneath, I draw 3 columns: objective, target, assets. I want my plan visible, tactile. Each letter I etch reminds me I'm not defeated, I'm focused. Objective: expose Marcus Thorne's hypocrisy, reclaim my honor, and dismantle his philanthropic facade. I pause, interpreting objective in simpler terms, make him bleed publicly with evidence he can't spin away. Then beneath it I write, restore reputation by revealing truth, inspire other veterans to speak up. Target: Marcus Thorne, CEO, tech mogul, PR machine. His strengths are his wealth, connections, and public image as a champion of the underdog. His weakness is arrogance, he thinks he's untouchable. He relies on staged events, controlled media, and proprietary security protocols he believes unbreakable. He underestimates anyone he views as beneath him like a ragged ex-soldier. He loves social media buzz and thrives on applause. Pull the rug from under his applause and he'll collapse. I circle his arrogance, that's the crack I'll pry open. Then I add also vulnerable, his inner circle, his PR director, his head of security, his chief financial officer. They're more paranoid than him, they gossip, they leak, pressure them, exploit their fear. Assets me trained strategist, field experienced. Skills, observation, improvisation, stealth, small unit tactics. Allies, Lana, the barista who saw him twitch at my blue-jacketed figure days ago. She's got access to his schedule because her fiancé works in his security detail. Marcus, preoccupied guards slip info for a few dollars. Then there's Carlos, a hacker I met 3 years ago in a VA support group. He owes me a favor after I saved his sister's life overseas. He can crack basic firewalls and set up untraceable channels. Asset 3, homeless network. I've traded meals and cigarettes for eyes and ears. They tip me off about shifts, movements, gaps in patrols. Last, social media, leak clips, whistleblower posts. I can farm attention faster than he can buy it. I underline assets. My pencil tip dulls against the rough paper, but I keep writing. Next, I sketch a timeline. Phase 1, intel gathering 1 week. Phase 2, leak small truths, test response. Phase 3, big reveal at his next public staging. Phase 4, clampdown, leave before they trace me. Phase 5, observe fallout. I tap my pencil against my lip and picture the logistics. Marcus is unveiling a veteran innovation hub in 2 weeks, a fancy parking space he funded to slot himself into headlines. That's perfect. Phase 3 unfolds there, but first intel. I need his talking points, internal memos, any sign his money was funneled to shell accounts. Financial irregularities. I recall a tip from a guard about off-site meetings at a nondescript warehouse. That's where his advisors hash out strategies away from cameras. I mark stakeout warehouse. Identify guard rotations, approach from east alley 3 blind spots, get inside camera feed loops. I trace the alley in my mind, recalling the chipped pavement and the broken neon sign dangling above. I know how to slip through a locked door, jiggling the latch using a thin metal rod I tucked away. I wrote down directions at night when I scoped it, just enough to memorize. Under assets I add homemade lockpicks, cell phone camera, cracked screen but it records, packet of dye capsules left over from that humiliating stunt. I'll repurpose those for my own reveal, highlight the blood money he doles out to cameras. My breathing deepens. The notebook is my command center. I cross out regrets, circle urgency, time is limited. The warehouse could move locations, Thorn could change venues, that hack could expire. I set a personal rule, no hesitation. I will operate on calculated aggression, strike swiftly. Stray cat scuttles by. I slip silently off the tarp and gather my kit, the pencil stub, the notebook, a half bottle of water, my lockpicks sheathed in duct tape, a tiny roll of wire. I check my phone. Carlos pinged me a scrambled link to an encrypted chat. His message, got partial logs. CFO moved large sums to offshore accounts last month. ETA full dump 24 hours. That's phase 2 fuel, leak enough to spark suspicion. I type back, copy, target his board, ready to act. What? I tuck the phone into my coat and head toward the warehouse alley where dawn light meets shadows. My heart isn't racing with fear. It's calm, steady. I'm not the broken man they think I am. I'm the planner they never saw coming. The mission has begun. I slip into the evening crowd outside the gleaming tower where Marcus Thorn holds court. The revolving doors spit me out into a marble foyer, lights too bright, guards too polished. I'm just another commuter in a wool coat, shoulders hunched against autumn chill. My eyes lock onto his routine, 12 steps down the lobby, pause at the reception desk, flash his badge, elevator call at 6:03 p.m. sharp every night. I timed it over 3 days, precise as artillery coordinates. On day 4, I switch tactics. I linger at a cafe across the street, nursing a black coffee 2 sizes too big. I watch the security guard's shift change at 5:45. The older guard, tattooed knuckles, nervous smile, glances at his watch before he ducks into the men's room, leaving the post unattended. That's my window. I cozy up to the receptionist, a tired-looking woman in her late 20s. I ask for directions to the roof terrace. For fresh air, I lie. She hesitates, but I flash a wounded veteran glance. She softens. Elevators only go to the top if you're senior staff, she says. She turns to her screen, typing. I catch the reflection, access override request. Perfect. I'm in the elevator by 6:02. The doors hum shut behind me. My heart thumps like a drill sergeant barking cadence. I hit the roof button and the doors open to a sea of HVAC units and a low railing overlooking the city. The air is cold, the sky bruised with twilight. I crouch behind a vent and unpack my phone, recording and snapping photos. Through the glass walls of the executive floor, I see Marcus pacing in his corner office, sleeves rolled up, cufflinks tossed on the desk. He met his own timeline tonight. I watch him draw a line on a schematic of his next innovation hub, the one set to open in 6 months. I zoom in, a cluster of units labeled Matrix Zero Labs. That's the shell company laundering his donations. I slip downstairs, back through the lobby, the tension unbroken. Next, I tail his CFO, a heavyset man in a gray suit who emerges at 6:30, muttering into a phone. He fidgets with a silver pen and engraving reads Certainty Capital. CFO walks across the plaza and gets into a black sedan with tinted windows. I follow and memorize the license plate, 6G4RNY. He's not going home. He drives 30 minutes out of the city, stops behind a shuttered warehouse, texts someone I can't read, waits. I note every detail, the warehouse's peeling paint, the missing window pane. Then he reemerges alone, lighter by 2 briefcases. I clap my hand to my mouth, terrified I'll cough. I slip back into the city night, boarding a late bus with a cracked seat cushion. Once home, my tarp under the dumpster, I pour over everything. The CFO's shipments aren't deliveries, they're photos, stacks of $100 bills wrapped in brown paper. I cross-reference the license plate with an online database secured by Carlos. It ties back to a shell corporation registered in the Caymans under Marcus' name. I jot notes, money trail, offshore bribery. I see the link. Marcus isn't just flaunting charity. He's funneling veteran funds into private pockets. That's the dirty secret that will wake the city. But there's more. My network of homeless lookouts report a late-night congregation in the park 2 blocks north. A VIP truck rolls up at midnight every Thursday. They unload crates bound for Marcus' private residence, a 2-story brownstone on Elm Street. I need proof, so Thursday I stake out the park with Lana's help. She takes a side street, I hide behind a trash bin. At 11:58 p.m. the truck arrives, lights off, engine idling. 2 masked men roll out, weathered wooden crates stamped fragile, high value. I snap photos. I note their awkward gait, they're not pros. I slip closer and hear one mutter. Do you think he knows this is stolen tech? We're moving prototypes from the lab raid. Lab raid? I freeze. That's the innovation hub I scoped earlier. He's moving stolen intellectual property, experimental drones, AI modules out by night. This story grows deeper than charity fraud. I trail the truck to Elm Street. It stops before a high gate and the crates go inside. I glimpse the house number 412 Elm. I mark it down. My notebook is a tangle of leads now: money laundering, stolen tech, bribes. Each vulnerability cuts a new avenue. I decide my first public leak will be the lab raid. It's visceral, stolen property, endangered veterans' inventions. I can time it with a midnight post so it trends before the morning papers fluff his philanthropic tower. As I pack away my notebook, I feel that old thrill: strategy, anticipation, control. Every detail counts. I'm mapping his empire 1 week brick at a time. The city is asleep, but I'm wide awake, threading together the strands of his brazen deceit. At dawn, the world will see. I spend the next morning in the back room of Lana's coffee shop, hunched over my notebook as she wipes down tables. The floorboards creak, the grinder hums, and I lay out my trap. I need to bait Marcus into making a move that exposes him on camera, something he can't spin. The stolen tech prototypes are perfect bait. I arrange for one of the crates to go missing from his Elm Street brownstone, so he panics, calls a crisis meeting, and reveals the conduit of his deceit live on video. Then I'll have Carlos tip off major blogs with the video feed. Simple, ruthless, effective. Phase 1: hijack the logistics manifest. I slip behind the counter and swipe the printed delivery schedule Lana accidentally left, a thick stack of receipts, barista orders, and that manifest. I memorize the manifest numbers for crate 7, the one labeled containment unit prototype. I take a photo with my cracked screen phone. I tuck the paper under a coffee cup and slip back to my dumpster lair. I cross-reference the manifest with the photos I snapped of the warehouse crates. Crate 7 is indeed the one marked HS1 drone chassis, the crown jewel of his lab hall. Next, I need someone to move that crate out of his house at the right moment. I think of Jermaine, a kid who panhandles at 5th and Elm and covets my leftover sandwiches. He doesn't know Marcus Thorne, but he knows how to carry a box. I grab a candy bar from Lana's counter, my payment to Jermaine, and write a simple note: help me with small box, 412 Elm at midnight, big tip. I tuck the note into the wrapper and hand it to him when he passes by asking for change. His eyes light up at the promise of money. He pockets the bar without reading the note. Perfect, unwitting muscle. At dusk, I hike out to 412 Elm to reconfirm entry points. The gate is unlocked, security by arrogance. I slip inside the yard. A floodlight scans the driveway. I freeze in the shadow of a hedge. I've mapped the light sweep. There's a 10-second blind zone behind the garage. I move there, crouch by the service door, and tape a small RFID skimmer borrowed from Carlos against the lock. This will record the security guard's fob when he enters tomorrow morning. I slip away before the light finds me. In the alley, I meet Carlos under a flickering street lamp. He's nervous, his breath steaming. I hand him the photo of the manifest. He nods, already typing on a tiny device. I'll feed this to the dark web boards in an hour. They'll think it's an insider leak. He flashes me a thumbs up and disappears into the night. Back at my tarp, I prepare the digital bait. I write a concise message under an anonymous handle. Internal leak, HS1 prototype stolen, scheduled delivery at Elm Brownstone, manifest attached. I include the photo. I schedule the post to hit 10 minutes before midnight. That's phase 2 locked, public knowledge ignites panic. As the hour approaches, I watch Jermaine from across the street, perched on a stoop with a candy bar. He glances at his phone, still unaware of the plan. I slip up behind him and whisper, 412 Elm, midnight box money. He looks up, blinking, confused and eager. He nods, securing the candy bar in his pocket. 11:58, my phone buzzes, Carlos, post live. I hit send. Instantly, the forums erupt, screenshots of the manifest, comments about stolen tech, calls for investigation. Marcus will see this in seconds. He'll race to Elm Street, order his guards to secure the crate. That's when Jermaine makes his move. Midnight, a black SUV screeches into the brownstone driveway, lights off. A guard steps out, fob in hand. He waves at the gate, the skimmer records the code, the gate clicks open. Jermaine, hovering by the front door, steps forward. The guard hesitates but sees a ragged kid holding a box. Need a hand? Jermaine says, voice trembling. The guard waves him in, too anxious to question him. They carry the crate into the garage. I watch from the tree line, heart ticking like a Geiger counter. The guard locks the garage door behind them. Then Marcus steps out, phone to his ear, panic in his stride. He glances at the empty front porch. His face blanches and he motions for the guard to wheel the camera cart inside. He sets up a live stream from his phone on the garage camera, guilty optics he can't edit in real time. Inside the garage, Jermaine tilts the crate and a red stain seeps from its bottom seam. He pries it open, unaware I slipped a capsule of red dye in there earlier. The stain blooms on the floorboards. The guard rushes forward, darkness pooling around their feet. What the hell, he gasps. Marcus fumbles, fumbling with the phone. The live stream is unsteady, his face in the dark stain. Panic shakes his voice. This is a setup, security breach, abort. But the feed is already flooding every major network. Stolen tech crate bleeds red, Thorn under fire. From my perch, I exhale, steady as steel. My trap is sprung. The bait has been taken, the target has taken the fall. Now I vanish into the night, leaving the world to watch the CEO tumble into chaos he can't control. I follow the flickering glow of my phone's notifications as they cascade in, Thorn exposed, red herring, blood money. The world's watching him implode in real time, but that spectacle's just Act 1. I slip through back alleys toward Elm Street, blending into shadows as routers and sirens collide in the distance. Marcus Thorn's arrogance will lead him right to my final ambush. I arrive 10 minutes later at the gated entrance, fob code already redeemed by my skimmer. I press my back against the iron bars and watch two black SUVs screech into the drive. Guards tumble out, flashlights cutting crescents through the night. Thorn strides between them, hair plastered to his forehead with sweat. His tailored suit looks absurd beneath the flickering porch light, as if stitched from his own panic. I step forward from the darkness, raising a hand in casual greeting. The nearest guard spots me and levels his flashlight. Who the hell are you? He snarls. Thorn's eyes narrow, but he keeps the camera rolling on his phone. Show's not over, he says, voice brittle. Another crusader for justice. I move closer, every step measured. You wanted transparency, I say, voice calm. Tonight you'll get it. I pull my coat back and reveal the notebook, pages marked with his secrets, offshore accounts, shipping logs, bribe slips, and map coordinates to his hidden labs. The guards shift uneasily. Thorn's face goes pale when he sees it. Where'd you get that? He hisses. It doesn't matter, I reply. You're not in control here. I toss the notebook onto his car hood, black metal scratched by the corners of the pages. My phone lights up with incoming messages, FOIA requests, subpoenas filed, protest organized. I tap the screen to amplify the feed onto two loudspeakers I'd rigged earlier behind my shoulder. The audio crackles. This is a message to Marcus Thorn. Your donations are blood money, your labs are fronts for stolen prototypes, and tonight the city will know every lie. Thorn steps back, his phone dangling from his hand. The live count flutters, 120,000 viewers. You're insane, he snarls, but even his bravado has cracks. I half smile. I'm a soldier, I say. I'm not insane, I'm precise. I pull out a flash drive and hold it up so his phone camera captures it. All the files you tried to bury, every asset transfer, global server logs, evidence of stolen tech auctions in Geneva. This goes to every major news outlet in 5 seconds unless you come clean. The guards exchange looks. The senior one, the tattooed guy who winked at Lana's coffee latte, raises his gun. I don't flinch. Warriors see the whites of the enemy's eyes. I see fear in his. Don't, I say, you're veterans, you know what blind obedience costs. He lowers the weapon, trembling. The second SUV doors open and the CFO stumbles out, coat rumpled, eyes wide. He glances between me and Thorne. Marcus, they're coming for us. I nod at the CFO. Your data analysis rigged your own company's public audits. You'll testify against him or I'll release this drive yourself. The CFO goes pale. He swallows. I'll talk. He turns to Thorne. It's true, I can explain, but Thorne just glares at him, phone still rolling. Thorne raises his phone, points the camera at his face. I have a brand to protect, he begins, voice cracking. I am innocent of wrongdoing, traffic sirens crescendo. Drone lights spin overhead, media drones hunting my spectacle. Protesters chant outside the hedge. Thorne's panic becomes viral theater. He hikes his phone higher to block the lights from view. I'm committed to vets, he shouts. I step forward and grab his wrist, twisting the phone camera until it captures the skimmer on the gate. Show them what you hid, I say. Prove you didn't intercept security clearances and funnel veterans' funds into shell accounts. He snaps the phone down, tries to wrestle free, but my grip is iron. The notebook slides to the ground, pages fluttering. I kick it open to the signature of his charity director, incriminating text threads in plain sight. We need bigger headlines, find a stunt, blood or tears. The crowds outside roar as the screen behind Thorne flickers on my live feed, drowning his narrative in proof. I feel no triumph, only cold resolution. This is justice. Thorne's shoulders slump. He lowers his gaze, face contorted. The guards put away their weapons. His limo pulls away, leaving him deflated on his own driveway. The CEOs closest to him, alerted by Carlos, are calling news networks. Reporters swarm the place. Thorne's empire collapses around him faster than any mortar strike I ever coordinated. I step back into the shadows, staring at the mess of headlights and hysterical cameras. I don't clap, I don't gloat. I just turn and walk away, slipping back through the gate before anyone can stop me. Behind me, Thorne's voice staggers on the loudspeakers. I swear, but nobody's listening. The people have seen the truth. As I disappear into the alley, the notebooks, the drives, the phones all discarded like spent shells, I feel the weight lift off my chest. The mission's done, my honor reclaimed. In the distance, a chant rises among the crowd, justice for vets. I let it fade behind me, a final echo of the ambush I designed in my darkest hour. Tonight, the ghost of a soldier found his vengeance and walked away unseen, just as he always planned. I keep walking until the roar of sirens and drones fades to a distant hum, then duck into a derelict subway underpass where the walls are layered with torn posters. I sink against damp concrete, pull out my folded notebook, and watch the incoming alerts scroll across my cracked phone screen. Marcus Thorne's Twitter account is locked down, his LinkedIn deleted, his charity's website replaced with a government notice. Under investigation. News outlets dissect his every move, offshore holdings, stolen drone prototypes, bribery of city council members. Stock in Certainty Capital plummets 23% within hours. The CEO who marketed himself as a savior of veterans is now headline fodder for every major network. A push notification flashes. CFO's tearful confession goes viral. I was pressured to cook the books. A video clip shows the trembling executive in an office, admitting he falsified annual reports under Thorne's orders. I lean back, letting it wash over me. This is the reckoning I engineered, and it's unfolding like clockwork. Another alert, City Council launches ethics probe into Marcus Thorne Foundation. The messages pile up, resignations, subpoenas, asset freezes. His private innovation hub is padlocked and sealed by court order. Police tape flutters across the steel door I once reconnoitered from the roof. I pictured that moment months ago, but I never thought I'd see it in real life. Now I have. I glance at the spot where I tucked away my bag of supplies under a pile of wet leaves. Inside, the lockpick set, the tiny RFID skimmer, the pack of dye capsules, remnants of my mission. I collect them methodically and stash them in my coat like trophies no one will ever see. For each piece of gear, a piece of his empire fell. Hours later, I wander into the park where protests are gathering. Veterans in Letterman jackets march behind a banner reading "Accountability Now." Lana S. behind a table handing out coffee and free sandwiches. She sees me and her eyes widen. I almost didn't recognize myself in this reflected world of revolt. She pours me a cup without a word. I nod my thanks and raise the mug in her direction, a silent salute. She slides over a tattered flyer someone pressed into her hand. Meet at City Hall, demand justice. I flick through the crowd, watching men and women in uniform walk beside students in hoodies. They chant in unison, cameras capturing every step. Their energy is raw, authentic. I feel a quiet pride. This is the real change born from the chaos I unleashed. Late that afternoon, I check local forums. Some call me a hero, others a vigilante criminal. A few pin my photo from a grainy surveillance clip. I smile. They'll chase shadows. I've already vanished. The FBI is rumored to have a task force on the case. They'll comb through digital breadcrumbs, but I used burner devices and dead drop exchanges. I planned for that. Their subpoenas will hit dead ends. My identity remains secure. By dusk, the story has metastasized. Podcasts dedicate entire episodes to dissecting the scandal. Late-night hosts roast Thorne's meltdown. An investigative reporter posts transcripts of my leaked feed. We want to hear from the whistleblower, she demands, but I won't step forward. My voice is in the notebook, the drive, the public record now. It doesn't need amplification from me. As night falls, I retreat to my alley behind Lana's shop and unpack my satchel. I pull out the blank page beneath the final mission summary, smear a line of red dye across it as a signature, a ghost signature. I tuck the page into a plastic bag and mail it, no return address, to a local newspaper with a simple note, "For the archives." That's my closeout. My mission log, my confession, my proof that justice can't always be legislated but sometimes must be executed. I wipe the last smear from my finger on my coat sleeve and sit back. The cold seeps in, but the victory warms me. My phone buzzes once more. Thorne indicted on multiple counts of fraud, embezzlement, trafficking stolen tech. I drop the phone next to me. I won't read the endless follow-up stories or relish his public disgrace any further. I've done my part. A soft wind rattles the blue tarp overhead. In the shifting light of the street lamp, I close my eyes and let the silence fill me. The chaos is behind me now, coursing through the city like a current, sparking conversations and court cases. I'll move on before the dawn. There are other ghosts in the system that need haunting, other battles to fight in the shadows. I grab my bag and step onto the slick pavement. My boots leave faint prints that will vanish with the next rain. I walk away from the underpass, from Lana's shop, from the park where hope is rising. As I turn the corner, the chant of justice for vets follows me faintly, a fading echo of the storm I unleashed. I walk into the night, a quiet soldier once more, mission complete, honor reclaimed, ready for whatever fight comes next. I cross the cracked pavement of Elm Street one last time before dawn, my footsteps silent on the wet concrete. The city is stirring, taxi horns blare, trash cans rattle in the breeze, the last traders head into the stock exchange where Certainty Capital's ticker still flickers red. I don't linger. I slip into the subway station and catch the first northbound train headed out of the district, clutching my bag tight against my side. Inside, the carriage is nearly empty, and I settle against the cool metal wall, eyes fixed on my reflection in the dark window. I see the same haunted gaze, the same hardened lines. But now there's a spark there, something I haven't felt in years. When I step off at the last stop, it's nothing more than an old rail yard turned community center, the rusted tracks swallowed by ivy. I climb out into the courtyard where a single lamppost casts a pale glow over weathered benches. 30 years ago, this was my training ground. The base has long since closed, but this spot still smells like mortar smoke and sweat, like the echo of commands and the hiss of parachute ripcords. I breathe it in like coming home. A figure waits by the fence, a man in civilian clothes but with a presence that brooks no nonsense. His shoulders are broad, his stance measured. When he turns, I recognize him immediately, Colonel Marcus Jennings, my commander from the 82nd Airborne. His hair is grayer, his uniform replaced by a weathered leather jacket and faded jeans, but his eyes are the same, sharp, compassionate, unyielding. "Didn't expect you back here," I say, voice rough. I keep my distance, almost wary. The yard feels like hallowed ground. He offers a small smile and holds out a hand, not for a shake but for a simple gesture of fellowship. "You left without a word," he says quietly. "Most of us thought you were dead." I let him lead me to a chipped wooden bench. We sit in silence, the hum of city life muted by the high walls. Finally I speak. "I was too ashamed to come back. I thought once my name was dragged through the mud, there was nothing left for me here." Jennings nods, eyes fixed on the empty tracks. "You were right to be angry. I saw the dossier the brass cooked up against you. They needed a scapegoat and you fit the plan." His voice hardens at the memory. "But they never broke you." He pulls a folded newspaper from his jacket pocket and unfolds it. The headline reads, "Ex-military strategist engineers fall of corporate tyrant." Beneath it, my photo from the ambush, grainy but unmistakable. I stare at it, the irony sinking in. My face was everywhere, but I was nowhere to be found. "I offered to testify," Jennings continues. "I went before the Senate committee, spoke about your record, everything you did overseas, everything you sacrificed. They cleared your name, posthumously promoted you back to rank. They're even talking about restoring your benefits." He pauses. "That takes care of the paperwork, but I want you back in uniform." I blink, unprepared for that. "Uniform?" I echo. "I'm no hero anymore, I'm a ghost." He leans forward, voice earnest. You're not a ghost to me, you're my strategist. I'm reopening a private advisory unit, unarmed, civilian-funded missions for veterans who fell through the cracks. We need your mind, your discipline. You'll lead a small team, train them, plan their ops, give other ghosts a purpose. My chest tightens. The last year I've drifted coffee shops, alleys, mission after mission of ruin. I thought I had no home left. Now someone is offering me a seat at the table I once commanded. Why me? I whisper. Because you never lost sight of justice, he says. You just had to do it your way. The Pentagon's slow, the courts are slower, you moved faster, you reminded people what service means. He slides the paper across the bench. That's your warrant, reinstatement is on the table. You can either walk away again or walk through that gate. I pick up the article, skim the fine print. Government backing secured for the unit, a modest stipend, full benefits, training facilities restored. But the real gift is the acknowledgement, my name cleared, my dignity intact. I stare at the tracks curling into darkness. I could disappear again, I say, I know how to vanish. He stands and brushes ash from his jeans. Maybe, but some battles aren't fought in shadows. He extends his hand again. Come back, Captain, your troops are waiting. I hesitate, glancing at the fence line where the first gray light of dawn seeps through. The rails glimmer, a path forward. My thumb tightens around the newspaper. I look up at Jennings, the man who believed in me when everyone else turned away, and I feel something long buried, hope. I stand, shake his hand firmly, and let the weight of the past year settle. The street lamp flickers off behind me as the sun crowns the sky. I step forward, past the bench, past the fence, onto the overgrown tracks that lead back into the city, and into a future where I'm not just avenging wrongs but building something lasting. The mission isn't over, but this time I'm fighting for more than honor. I'm fighting for redemption, for community, and for the promise of a life I thought I'd lost but finally found.